So over the last couple of days, I kept seeing this Under Paris movie pop up everywhere, and I was like, what is this? And so I looked it up, and all I saw was a poster with like a shark fin going through the water, and there was a reflection of the Eiffel Tower, and I was like, wait, is this a shark movie that takes place in Paris? This is going to be a masterpiece. And then I looked, and there was a 38% on Rotten Tomatoes. Are you guys high? This movie was hilarious. Now, obviously, I'm being silly. It is hilarious, but yeah, this movie is pretty bad. Pretty bad. Although I would say the first hour of this movie is bad. But the last 40 to 30 minutes of this movie is so much fun. In my opinion, I was having a blast for like the last 30 to 40 minutes of this movie. And I just wish that the amount of fun this movie has in its climax was throughout its whole runtime. But unfortunately, the first hour is a slog. So typically, like in my reviews, I'll build up to, the ending of a movie, but for this review, I think I'm actually going to swap that. I think I'm actually going to talk about the climax before I talk about anything else, because let's be honest, the climax of this movie is the most interesting part of the movie. So just quickly to sum things up here, the movie is about Sophia, a scientist who tags a shark early in her career. The shark grows by like 4 times or whatever. The shark ends up killing her husband and her coworkers, and then 3 years later she's dealing with grief, and she clearly hasn't dealt with it because she lets a 7-year-old kid bully her at work, which is again hilarious. She meets an eco activist named Mika who says like, hey, we are able to track all of these animals in the ocean, and we can disable their trackers so that poachers don't kill them or whatever. Doesn't matter. They tell her that the shark that killed her husband and her friends is swimming through the Seine River in Paris, and they're going to go stop them with the help of the river police. So that kind of leads to the ending of the movie. And the ending of the movie, why I think it works, not just the ending, I'm talking about the last like 40 minutes or so, is that the movie does a lot of things right in the last 40 to 30 minutes. And that is like it establishes stakes, and it also has a plan. I love movies that have plans. I love when people are talking in rooms and pointing at blueprints and being like, all right, Bobby, you're going to be over here doing this thing. All right, Joe, when he does that thing, you're going to do this thing. I love movies that have, enacting plans. That's probably why, the Mission Impossible franchise is my favorite franchise. The cool thing about the movie is that it establishes that Paris is having a triathlon that is attached to the Olympics, I believe. And the mayor is like, hey, we just put in like millions and millions of dollars to get this thing going. We can't just call it off because there's a shark in the river. So, Sophia and, the river police kick rocks. We're just going to hire a bunch of military people with big guns in the river. And if a shark shows up, we're going to shoot the shit out of it. Fair enough. So anyways, what makes it so captivating is that you have the main characters underwater in the catacombs, enacting their plan, but then you also have all the stuff happening on the surface with the triathlon, with the mayor giving a big grand speech, the swimmers jump in, and we're off to the races. And of course, like every plan in a movie, it all goes to shit. And when it goes to shit, things keep escalating and escalating and escalating, and I think this is where the movie shines. Is it stupid and ridiculous? Of course it is. Is it hilarious? Of course it is. But at least it's fun. At least I was having fun. The first hour of this movie is so slow, it's not interesting. The action scenes that lead to the climax are very dull. The characters are not that relatable or interesting. However, again, when we get to the climax, the movie just unleashes hell, and it's a blast. There's actually a cool moment in the climax during like the catacomb stuff, is that I think at one point they established that the shark is a new species of shark that can like reproduce without a mate or something and have a bunch of baby sharks running around. Sure, I'll go with that. Anyways, there's a moment in the climax. It actually reminded me of the movie Pitch Black, but there's a moment in the climax when they're going through their plan underwater. One of the river police guys opens up a light or a flare, what's a flare? I don't know. How does that work? A light underwater, and it's all red. So this big bright red light shines through the water, and then above him you just see like hundreds and hundreds of baby sharks. I thought that was such a cool moment. It reminded me of that scene in Pitch Black where the guy blows into the fire and the flame and all the aliens are around him. It's a really cool oh shit moment. But yeah, man, this climax goes hard. You got the triathlon swimmers and the shark like picking them off one by one as the race is happening, and then chaos ensues. A military are shooting fucking 50 cal, not 50 cal, I don't know, I'm not a military machine gun guy, but machine guns into the water. Chaos ensues. I think at one point Sophia and her partner guy friend dude, military bro dude, they're like floating on the water, and their colleagues are on a boat right in front of them, and out of nowhere the shark fucking bolts up and the boat flies into the air. The CG characters fly off. I think the shark does like a backflip and a wink at the camera. It's fantastic. It's very like, he doesn't wink at the camera, but it's very like sci-fi channel movie, ridiculous shit. And I was laughing, and it was fun. It was a lot of fun. And there's a lot of moments like that through the climax. And like I said, it just builds and builds and builds. And, it just makes for a more captivating watch versus what we had in the hour leading up to this. And then you have the actual ending of the movie, which I don't know if I'll spoil here. I mean, whatever. It's a fucking shark movie. But anyways, yeah, I'll just spoil it. So the military gets all gun happy and starts shooting, and it's established early on in the movie that there are these artillery shells from World War I that are just like at the bottom of this river, and one gets set off, and then it sets up a chain reaction where they all start going off, and then bridges are fucking exploding. The whole city gets overrun by floods, overrun with water, and then the ending is just Paris flooded, and then it ends there. And then like the end credits, there's maps of other cities, and it makes me think like, are they planning on doing a whole series of these, like under London, under New York, like a new fucking shark movie for all of these cities? I hope they do. Well, as long as, if they're doing sequels, as long as the sequels are fun through its entirety and not just the last 30 to 40 minutes, then I'm on board. But if I have to suffer through an hour of nonsense to get through another climax for a sequel, I don't know. The other thing that I appreciated about the movie is I think it's actually shot pretty well, at least from like an exterior establishing, cinematography point of view, which I know is kind of weird, but a lot of the establishing shots of this film, and a lot of this is shot in exteriors. There's not a whole lot of interior scenes in this movie, but a lot of the exterior cinematography is beautiful. It really is. It's really beautiful. Even just a boat going through the river in this wide shot, and you see like Paris in the background. It's cool stuff. Even the beginning when Sophia and the scientists are in the ocean with all this garbage and plastic. And when we shoot underwater, when we finally go underwater, we have these divers that are kind of like in the middle of the frame. And then on the top of the frame, you have all this like colorful, well, it's all garbage and plastic, but like the light shining through. I don't know. There's just some cool visual touches that I didn't expect for this movie. So from a cinematography standpoint, I did appreciate that. But again, just from like an exterior establishing, point of view. I'm not saying the movie as a whole, cinematography wise, was like fucking Dune Part 2, because it's not. I'm just saying that like there are shots of this movie that I was like, oh, that's really beautiful to look at. But yeah, overall, the characters are not that interesting. Things just kind of happen. Everything is rushed. The action scenes that take place before the climax or the thrilling scenes are, I don't know, they're not really compelling. They're just kind of like blah. And that's the unfortunate part of this movie, is that like the first hour is just so bad. To put it bluntly, it's just a bad movie. But again, once you get to the climax, it's kind of awesome. So it's like, how do we recommend something like this? It's like, I would say if you have patience, if you can sit through an hour of fucking nonsense, then I think your patience will be rewarded, because I do think that it ends in a very fun and entertaining way. However, if you don't have patience and you don't want to sit there for an hour waiting for that moment, then I would probably say you can skip this one. Go watch Open Water or Deep Blue Sea, or hundreds of other shark movies. Oh, what was that one with Blake Lively? That one was fun. God, what was that? Was it The Shallows, where she's stuck on a rock? Anyways, go watch that one. So yeah, to wrap things up here, I don't know. Like I said a million times, if you have patience for this movie, I think you will be rewarded. I think the climax is the best part of this movie. I just wish that, the whole movie had that same type of energy, but unfortunately we just get it in the climax. But yeah, this one was rough. This is a rough movie. Anyways, have you seen this movie? Did you like it? Do you agree with me? Did you like the climax, or did you think it was stupid? Did you think the whole thing was stupid, or, did you have fun with all of it? Let me know in the comments below, and I will see you on the next one.